have the distinct honor of welcoming and introducing our next speaker, Reverend Dr. Raymont Anderson. They are a true Imagineer. Brings his many years of being a professional educator, visual artist, performer, ASL interpreter, author, and lover of comics and film to all areas of his life and his ministry, which for him extends beyond the church center. He is an ordained Center for Spiritual Living minister and serves as the founding minister and the spiritual director of the Center for Spiritual Integrated Arts, which is a Center for Spiritual Living teaching chapter. He is both a frequently sought after guest minister speaker at various churches, centers, and events, and a frequently requested facilitator of seminars and workshops related to such things as radical and audacious self-care, living with purpose, grief, forgiveness, LGBTQ empowerment, exploring and expressing one's creativity, and more. In addition to all of this, until very recently, he served as the co-lead and as the interfaith lead for his local Moms Demand Action chapter. As a survivor of gun violence, he has also participated in the Everytown Survivor Fellowship Program. Let's give a warm Concordia welcome to Reverend Dr. Raymont Anderson. Yay.
Hello and greetings. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I need to see some hands. Come on, people. Thank you. Okay. So, if we are ready, well, let's start off with Merry Christmas. Oh, sorry. Wait. We're not there yet, right? We're still in Happy, not Thanksgiving, because I don't do Thanksgiving anymore. So I do Happy Thanks Living. Breathe and take that in for a second. Happy Thanks Living. And the reason I do Happy Thanks Living is because when we rise up and dance, which is the title for today, when we rise up and dance because we live our thanks, the giving, the demonstration of that thanks happens automatically. So breathe that in, because we're stepping into this idea of what does it mean to truly, and I mean truly, 100,000% truly be in a space of what is abundance. What does it mean for that to be our mental equivalent? What does it mean to truly be in a space of thankfulness? Not just giving thanks, not just saying thanks or thank you. Thank you, Tracy. Thank you, Pam. Thank you, Denise. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, CSL Concordia. Not just saying thank you, but being it. Like, have you ever been around somebody and they didn't say a word, but you felt the energy of? I don't know about you. I don't know. Raise your hand if you are a dog person or a cat person. Like, okay. Does your dog or your cat, do they, and I mean when I say speak, do they speak, like Mr. Ed speak? Like, do they talk? More than likely no, because if they did, you would probably be right now at Ripley's Believe It or Not making $1 million with your talking cat or dog. But they show their gratitude. They express it. Whether it's in the tail wagging, the purring, the something is a expression of. And because God is all there is, God, yes, source, spirit, okay. Because God is all there is, does that not also mean that the sunrise and the sunset, the blooming rose, the breeze on a warm day, all of these things are the ways that nature expresses gratitude? The ways that nature itself rises up and dances? So, breathe that in once again. I know, yes, it's me again, your friendly neighborhood New Thought agitator. And yes, I know that I am poking the bear and asking us and inviting us into a new space of what does it mean to not just, you heard me say it if I'm not mistaken the last time I was here when I talked about jargon. How do we not just use abundance and thanks and as jargon, but how do we embody it? So one of the things that, for me, like today's title easily could have been tag you're it. You know, raise your hand if you were someone that when you were a kid, or you it doesn't have to be when you was a kid at 5 years old. It could be a kid at 55, 45, 85, 105. I don't care what the age is. Raise your hand if you play tag you're it. There you go. See, so you already know how to play it, but I'm going to change it a bit and make tag an acronym. TAG, thankfulness, appreciation, gratitude. You are it. You are it. You are a divine expression of how spirit thanks itself as you. How the universe expresses appreciation in, through, and as you. How that which spirit and all that is expresses the gratefulness, its gratitude for your divine embodiment, divine individualized expression. You are it. Breathe. Because when we really sink into this idea, then not only are we going to be able to look all around us and find examples of abundance, but we're also then going to find reasons to be thankful, full of thanks, full of appreciation and gratitude, because there is a vast array of abundance being demonstrated. And because, dare I say, because we tend to take it for granted, we don't recognize how abundant the universe truly is. Or we will segment that abundance and say, well, yes, there are many grains of sand on the beach, but there are not many dollars in my bank account. Okay, I hear you, yes. And I understand. And just because one thing it demonstrates, it shows the example of, just because, and it's not, well, wait a minute, why is it not? If that which God is all there is, a circle, circumference, nowhere, center, everywhere, then that means something is going on in this area. What might that be? Therein lies our invitation to pause and rewind, come back and say, okay, God being all there is, do I believe that? Not just with my words, but with the way that I show up. Because when we acknowledge the good, and, to quote Emma Curtis Hopkins, my good is my God and my God is my good. When we acknowledge the good that we have, when we acknowledge the good that we give, when we acknowledge the good that we are, that's when we realize that we truly do have the power to create a world that works for all. And knowing this, why would we not have reason to joyously celebrate and dance? When we really understand that we can create a world, why would we not celebrate? Every day is a day of celebration. Joyful, joyful, we are joyful. Every day is a day to be in that space of thanksgiving, because I am living my thanks. I am it. So let's rise up and dance. Well, what in the world does that mean? Rise up and dance. It means celebrate. Now, what are we specifically celebrating? We are celebrating the infinite and the glorious power and presence of the divine all around us, within us, and each other, and as each of us and all other. If God is all there is, then it's everywhere and everything. Are we celebrating life that way? Because it's easy to compartmentalize and segment and say their behavior, that bank account, that whatever condition, experience, it's separate. It's not, and I am not saying celebrate in the midst of the grief, celebrate in the midst of the trauma, not saying we are celebrating it. What I'm saying is, in the midst of it, what we are celebrating is the infinite opportunity, the infinite power and presence that says, I am grieving, and there is healing, there is comfort, there is community, and I celebrate that. I celebrate the appreciation, the gratitude, the thankfulness of all of that supports me in the midst of the challenges. We are celebrating the opportunity and the power that is present in how we show up and show out as the divine, which changes the world. Which changes the world. So if we were to pause and say, well, where and how does this abundance demonstrate? If we were, since today's topic is rise up and dance, if I were to say, one, how many different dance styles are there? Many. And we could pick any one. We'll say, for the sake of conversation, ballet. Because you may not have known this, but many years ago I practiced, we won't go into that. I will not show you my plie and releve this time. But when I show up live and in person, be ready. So if I were to say ballet, just as an example, ballet. At what point do you run out of choreography for a dance? Is there ever a point where the choreographer, the ballet choreographer says, oh man, we used up all the plies and releves. We can't use them anymore. Man. Is there ever a time when someone like Sammy Davis Jr., Gregory Hines, is there ever a time when they say, tap, tap, shh, tap, 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 and oh man, my shoe's not making sound anymore because I've run out of, there is no such thing. Well, why not? Because it is a divine demonstration of that which God is as the infinite expressing itself. Is that not reason, once again, for us to enter into a space of what it means to celebrate that? When we really understand and know that. So, Dr. Holmes says, it was posted in Science of Mind magazine, it says, what great joy should accompany everything that we do? An expectancy, a love everything, praise everything, recognize all things, believe all things, accept all things. There is a laughter of God. Let's laugh it. There is a song of the universe. Let's sing it. There is a hymn of praise. Let's praise it. There is a joy, a beauty. There is a deep, abiding peace. Let's experience it. Now, for the sake of conversation, I'm going to remix that a smidge. What great joy should accompany everything that we do that is life-affirming, which carries an expectancy, a love. Be love in the midst of everything. Be of praise in the midst of everything. Be one who can recognize in the midst of all things, believe in the midst of all things, accept in the midst of all things that we are an embodiment of God. Because once again, when we do that, then we are able to rise up in our healing and know that there is a laughter of God that we can laugh. There is a song of the universe that we can sing. There is a hymn of praise that we can praise. And there is a joy and a beauty and there is a deep abiding peace that we are not only experiencing, but we are expressing because we are being it. Is that not what Dr. Holmes invited us when he spoke at Asilomar for a sermon by the sea? And he said, show me 1,000 people who know what religious science is, who practice it, and who live it as a way of life. And I will, my words, I will live to see a world that works for all. When we know what it is, we practice it, and we live it as a way of life. In other words, we have embodied it to such a degree that there is no separation between what it is as a philosophy, a teaching, a liberation theology, and who and what we are. Which means we are living it to such a degree that we are bringing this healing not just to the pains caused by war and school shootings and terrorism and more, but we are healing to such a degree that those things and more become extinct. That we have healed them into history. That our children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and generations to come, when in a history class, are reading about. Remember the group of people who lived in the year 2024, 2025? They are the ones who healed the planet to such a degree that racism, sexism, homomisia, transmisia, all of these forms of separation, which is scarcity consciousness, all of these things that othered people in non-life affirming ways, lack consciousness, all of these things, that generation of people in that era, they healed it. That's why we rise up and dance. That's why we celebrate. That's why we have this divine opportunity to not just say thank you, but to embody it, to live it, to be it, to breathe it. Because everything we could ever, quote unquote, need to manifest a world that works for all exists right now. In the same way that if we were to go back to 1885, we'll say 1885, or 1886 actually, when Carl Benz, I'm sure you know that name is for a car, when Carl Benz applied for a patent for a vehicle powered by gas, an engine powered by gas, which then eventually became Mercedes-Benz, right? Cars. But long before, everything that existed to create the car existed when people were riding horses. Everything existed. But people weren't aware. Their consciousness hadn't expanded to the degree of. Same thing for the light bulb. Long back when torches or candles or lanterns, the possibility of the light bulb plugging into electricity, it already existed, but the consciousness wasn't there. But when people stepped into and embodied that consciousness, light bulbs were created, refrigerators were created, peace on earth created, right here and right now. Is this not why when we do spiritual mind treatment that we affirm it, declare, and speak it in the present? It's not, someday our prayers will be answered by you and me and with. No. I know my sister right now is like, stop singing. That is not why, or it's not how we treat. We treat and move our feet. We treat and embody and live in such a way that we are recognizing the here and now. God, Source, Spirit, the very power and presence of all that is right here, right now, living, moving, breathing itself as each one of us right now. So if God is present, God is right where we are, as we are. There is only one life, and that life is God. There is only one mind, and that mind is God. And when Joel Goldsmith says, God expresses God, and that expression appears as you. When Dr. Holmes says, for the highest God and the innermost God is one God, and not two. And Meister Eckhart said, which I shared last time I saw you all, between me and God, there is no between. Dr. Holmes says again, the life within you is God. Whatever is true of God is true of your life, is true of you, since your life and the life of God are not two, but one. And Dr. Holmes says, for the only God that you and I will ever know is the one that we embody. Never forget that. So that means everything that it is, all of the wisdom, all of the intelligence, all of the resources, all of the everything is right here and right now. So our invitation is, don't simply do a prayer. Be the prayer. Don't simply say amen, and so it is. Let your life be the living example of amen, and so it is. So that when you speak, let your hello be so powerful and filled with thankfulness and healing energy that when you say hello to the person who is ringing up your groceries, the entire energy of their aura, their mind, their mental equivalent, their generational trauma, and all of it begins to transform, and the phoenix rises from the flames. And you are the reason, with simply a hello, you are the reason that they are now able to rise up and dance. When we are living this teaching to such a degree and celebrating one another, celebrating ourselves, self-care, self-love, self-worth, expressing that, then there is not anything or anyone that could ever deny the transformative power of God expressing in your life and as your life. And when we do that, a world that works for all is already done. And so it is.